Number 6, ask lots of questions. Questions that a buyer would ask. Let them know why you're asking questions. In other words, Alan, I'm asking the same questions that I'm going to get from anyone who would be interested in your home. After all, that's what you would expect me to do. And I'm going to take lots of notes and point to your clipboard and tell them, these are the notes that I'll use to help you sell your home. So as you're touring their home, ask lots of questions, take lots of notes. Number 7, be enthusiastic and like their house. Number 8, before you leave, exit conversation. Ask them if they have a game plan for how long they're going to sell by owner before they consider hiring a professional like you. And ask them if the reason they're selling their home by owner is in order to save on the fee. And they're going to say yes. And your response to that is, of course, that makes sense. And I know that if I were to bring you a buyer or another real estate agent was going to bring you a buyer, you would pay them 3% or whatever it is they told you they're paying. So the difference between selling your home by owner and working with a professional like me is just 3%. Would you agree? They're going to say yes. And all you're doing is you're dropping a bomb and you're going to walk away. In other words, you're planting a seed for them to think about later. And then before you leave, just let them know that you're really good at follow-up and that you will stay in touch, that you're very persistent but not pushy, and that you're a phone call away if they have any questions. Your job is to create a foundation to follow up from. It's not to go get a listing.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. Those are awesome tips.
Okay. All right, guys. So let's get started. That was a little mini session. So hopefully that was good. And I'm going to start with a comment. How we choose to approach this time, the time that we are in right now. We are 8 weeks into this journey. And how we choose to approach this will determine how we remember it and how we are remembered. Our first decision is how we are going to handle hard times. So when faced with adversity, your first decision is how are you going to handle this? And I apologize for looking away, but I am looking at notes because I did spend several hours preparing for you guys, and I definitely want to give you the information that I researched. Why does adversity prepare us for greatness? It's a great question. And I would say hard times are largely a matter of perspective. So let me explain that. I'm in a much different place today than I was 10 years ago. I'm in a much different place today than I was 5 years ago. And as I'm sharing this story with you, if I were to panoramic my computer, guys, and show you the rest of the house, the living room is that way. And Monica is in there working. That's her office. And she's hearing this. And she's probably going to hear this for the first time, which means don't be surprised if you hear a what in the background. So I'm in a much different place today than I was 5 years ago. I'm in a much different place today than I was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we almost lost our business. And I'm going to get into that in just a little bit. We went about $500,000 in debt. And we were faced with adversity, big adversity. 5 years later, 2015, we had dug ourselves out of debt and we were back to even, doing really well. And I'm making a move to Coral Springs to become a team leader. And our daughter is diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Biggest adversity of my life, our life, Lacey's life. And prior to the past 10 years, minor things, at least things that I consider minor, would cause me to go completely sideways now. So when faced with COVID, okay, got this. What's next? Driving down the road the other day, I'm in my new Ford Explorer. At least it's new to me. It's a couple years old. And I'm driving down the road in the subdivision that I live in. People put their trash cans right next to the curb. And every so often it goes over the curb. And there's not a lot of room. And as I'm driving, the right front fender of my Explorer taps one of those garbage cans. And it put a small dent in it about that big. Now, 10 years ago, I would have freaked out. You guys get this? Nod your heads. By the way, I love looking at you guys in the morning. So if you're on and your video's not on, unless you are just not screen ready, please put your video on so I can see you. Are you guys getting this? Do you understand? 10 years ago, I would have freaked out. I would have been furious. Now I'm like, all right, there's a little dent in the front of my car that I've had 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is. I'll go get it fixed. No big deal. Hard times are largely a matter of perspective, and adversity prepares us for greatness, because when you go through adversity, life's challenges don't affect you the same way that they used to. That's my point. Now, adversity makes us stronger. As we grow and become stronger, we move from the emotion of the event to the response of how we choose to act, faster and faster every year. Let me say this again. We move from the emotion of the event to the response of how, and if I'm taking notes, I'm going to double underline, we choose to act, because it is a choice. By the way, a response is positive, a reaction is negative. If you go to the doctor and the doctor gives you a drug and you respond to the medicine, that's a good thing. If you have a reaction, that's not a good thing. On page 273 of Gary's book, Shift, he says, if you want to have fewer problems, I suggest you learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And then he goes on to say, people say, I'm comfortable. Well, this is actually from his podcast, Think Like a CEO. In that podcast, Jay Papasan actually said, people say, I'm comfortable where I am. And they want to find this place where life will never mess with them again. The problem with just good enough is you are just on the edge of life throwing you a curveball. The problem with just good enough is you are just on the edge of life throwing you a curveball. Now, as a team leader, I talk to a lot of real estate agents, both with Keller Williams and not with Keller Williams. And I hear over and over and over again, Matt Ferrelli, I'm looking at your picture. Thank you for being on this call. I hear over and over and over again, I'm good, I'm happy, I'm super comfortable. And I want to scream from the rooftop. The problem with just good enough is you are just on the edge of life throwing you a curveball. And all of us have been thrown a curveball. The entire world, for the very first time in the history of history, the entire world is going through adversity. You know, Andy Andrews says that we are either going towards adversity, coming out of adversity, or we are in adversity. And for the very first time in the history of the world, we are all in adversity. All of us have been thrown a curveball. Make no mistake. This virus is a worldwide health crisis that is causing economic crisis for a lot of people. You guys hear that? You think this is a snow day? You think you got a 4-week vacation and you're going to go back to work and everything's going to be okay? I got news for you. That ain't happening. People who live by a model of just enough are always on the edge of being knocked off. People who live on the edge of just enough are always on the edge of being knocked off. Get back to the basics. That's my next major point. If you're writing notes, this is Roman numeral number 3. Get back to the basics. We succeed in good times, not only because of what we do right, but also in spite of what we do wrong. We succeed in good times, not only because of what we do right, but also in spite of what we do wrong. Prior to COVID, a lot of us succeeded in spite of our bad habits. The habits we build in hard times in order to survive are the same habits that will cause you to thrive on the other side of this. For example, 40 care call contacts. For those of you who are building that habit, who have been building that habit for the last 4 weeks, for the last 6 weeks, you're creating a habit that's going to create greatness on the other side of this. For those of you who are not building that habit, you may not be in business on the other side of this. So page 28, as you go through the list of necessary actions, don't be surprised if they're not special, unique, or new. Actually, they are the foundational components of a successful real estate career. Our research, this is Gary Keller talking, our research with the best agents in the industry for our book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and our ongoing dialogues with them absolutely show that top agents become top agents by mastering fundamentals. They become top agents by mastering fundamentals. By mastering fundamentals. So Sarah Reynolds did $5 million in GCI last year. She's a Keller Williams agent, rock star, right? 5 million GCI last year. And the first thing she did when we were faced with this health crisis was to go into her ISA team and work 4 to 5 hours making phone calls every day. She got it. Time to get back to the basics. I recognize a market shift, and I know in a market shift, the first thing I have to do is get back to the basics. And the number one thing as a rainmaker that I own is lead generation. So I'm going to get back into my ISA team and I'm going to get on the phone. You see, you guys, meanwhile, sometimes we, successful real estate agents, can grow our business to a point where we feel we have graduated from making these calls. Remember, I talk to real estate agents every day. And one of the questions I ask them is, what are you doing to drive business, to drive leads to your business? And I hear over and over and over again, oh, I don't have to do that for sell by owner thing. I don't have to do that expired thing. I've graduated from that. I don't have to knock on doors. I don't have to do open houses. My clients just keep feeding me referrals. Meanwhile, sometimes we can grow our business to a point where we feel we have graduated from making these calls. Sarah Reynolds, $5 million in GCI. Sarah Reynolds got into her ISA team and started making calls. She got it. So in 2010, I walked into my office on a Monday morning. And again, Monica's in the other room. I'm sharing a story that involves her. And I mean, don't be surprised if you hear, what? Or I can't believe you're telling them that. So in the meantime, here we go. I walked into my office on a Monday morning. Monica's in tears. She's in tears because we have 2 deals pending. We have just enough money to get through the next 2 months. And our business is in danger of failing. It's in danger of failing. We immediately got into action. I sold my car in order to make 3 months worth of payroll so I didn't have to lay anyone off. I got my team together and created new standards for everything we did, including phone calls and contact swaying. New standards for appointments. Even new standards, Jim, for how many personal notes we're going to write every day. Matt, we even had standards for how many price reductions we were going to get every week. We had standards for what percentage of our total inventory and dollar volume was going to get reduced. And we had a standard of reduce our total listed volume by 5% per week. In other words, if you took the 70 listings that we had and said it's $30 million in volume, we had to reduce our listing volume by $1.5 million a week. If I did the math right, I think that's 5% of 30 million. Yeah, Wayne's shaking his head, so yes. These were standards to keep your job. Guys, this is serious. We're getting ready to lose our business. We're getting ready to lose our home. We're getting ready to lose everything. And I just sold my car so I can make payroll for 3 months. Now, we got back to the basics. I got back on the phone. And within 3 months, we had 70 listings and 20 pending contracts. Within 3 months, 70 listings and 20 pending contracts. By the way, Wayne, that 20 pending contract became a standard. And that pending board was on the wall when I walked into the office. It was the first thing that I would do is I would stop and I would count how many pending sales we had. And if we didn't have at least 20, Matt, I gathered the entire team together and we had a conversation. Why don't we have 20 contracts? What do we need to do today to get 20 contracts?
We need to get on the phone and we start lead generating.
Yeah.
And we get the listings back up, which will drive the contracts, which will drive the buyers.
Yeah, 100%. Here's the other thing I want you to hear, and then I'm going to take you guys off mute and let you talk. Within 3 months, we're at 70 listings and 20 contracts because we created new standards and we created new habits. Never to compromise on those standards again. And by 2015, when I was in my last year of real estate before becoming a team leader, we were number 5 in an MLS of 10,000 agents.
It's an impressive number, and it goes to due diligence and hard work and your new standards.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Talk to me, guys. What'd you hear? What are your ahas? What are you going to do differently?
Hey, John.
Yeah.
How did you develop your standards? Was it just you looked at your budget, you looked at everything, and how did you do it? Just that.
Millionaire agent.
It's all in here. Everything is in here. the business model, the economic model, the lead gen model. They're all in here. This is the playbook. Does that help, Jim?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Yeah.
Come on, everybody, speak up. It can't be just me and Jim. All right, John, you're back on.
Hey, John.
Yeah, good morning, Jeff Booker.
Yeah, it's painful sometimes. I think that,
Extremely.
when you're in the beginning of your, career, or the beginning of your life choices, coming out of college or coming out of whatever, your 20s, you start to experience the loss of, having money or the ability to pay your bills. And I think that pain will help a lot of people sometimes set their standards. In other words, you do not want to go back there. You do not want to revisit that. That's why you get up, you get ahead of the day, you start the day as early as possible, and you prepare the day before. And those are standards that I think, come after experience or come by choice because you were blessed to have a great mentor.
Yeah, agree. I couldn't agree more. And I tell people, and sometimes they look at me kind of funny, that I'm grateful for hard times. Rock bottom can be a really good place. I just never want to go back there again.
Hey, John.
All right. Yeah, man.
The one good thing about it, the fact that you almost hit rock bottom and you were able to get your business back, now you can help all of us so that we don't lose our businesses. And you've already, a lot of times when we go through adversity, it's good to share with others because they can learn from your mistakes or my mistakes.
Yeah, Jim. I'm reading in the comments, and some of you may not know who Cindy Hayden is. Cindy Hayden is the president of the Board of Realtors in Pinellas County, where I sold real estate prior to moving to Coral Springs. So I've known Cindy for a long time. And I just want to read her comment to you. You have helped me do this, and was looking last night. And since COVID-19, April 2nd, have 9 contracts, most in 15 years. That's not an accident, guys. She's got the most contracts that she does in 15 years because she has plugged into what we talk about every morning on this call. She's implementing what we talk about. She's not on this call for entertainment. Trust me, if you're looking for entertainment, there's a lot more people out there that are more entertaining than I am. All right, I need a couple more ahas before we say goodbye.
Hey, John, it's Victoria.
Victoria, 2
Good morning.
days in a row. I am so honored to have you on my call. We're gonna have to make this a habit.
Habits are success, right?
There you go.
So, wanted to remind you something. What's today?
Yeah, sorry, Victoria. I was reading a message from Mike. Mike, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so I appreciate kind words, Mike. So Victoria, I'm sorry, what did you say?
So I just wanted to remind you about today.
Oh my gosh, what's going on?
So today we have a special guest at the meeting with Alan Waxman at 3:30.
That's right. I'd forgotten. How awesome is that?
And speaking of following models, she is incredible at bringing the survival guide for COVID. So I wanted to just remind everybody, please show up today at 3:30 at the Zoom call. She's got the top 10 ways how to get business now. And she's been Zooming this all up in her area and the greater, all over the place. And she's awesome.
Yeah. And everybody's welcome on this call, right?
Everybody
Love it.
is welcome.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Can you share the link in the chat
Yeah.
section, please?
I will do that now.
Thank you for reminding me and reminding all of us that we want to be on that call at 3:30 today. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss this. I agree. All right.
Victoria, I thought that you said today, what is today? It's the last day to register for Bold, guys.
Yep.
If you aren't registered, get registered.
That too. You know, and Mike, believe it or not, here's something that will absolutely floor you guys. We have people who are donating money to sponsor agents into Bold, who don't have agents to sponsor into Bold. So John Dietz at kw.com. If you want to be a part of this 4-week experience, it's live streamed. You don't have to go anywhere. Incredible training twice a week for 2 hours, Tuesday and Thursday, each day. And if you want to be a part of this, email me, John Dietz at kw.com, John Diet with a Z at kw.com. All right, guys, make it a great day. Get on the phone, smile and dial and talk. And what else are you going to do? Get on the phone and start making calls. Now, for every single one of you who are sitting at home, homeschooling kids and going, John, are you kidding me? What else am I going to do? I didn't forget about that. Don't get mad at me. I don't want 20 angry text messages saying, holy cow, what do you mean? What else am I going to do? I know you're busy. All right. Make it a great day.